Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Hunter Loves Voiceplay podcast, Geoff edition. We are going to be going into a highly voted video called The Reigns of Castamere. Now, I'm going to put this disclaimer out here real quick. I am not, by any means, a Game of Thrones fan. I tried reading the books, could not get interested in them, tried watching the show, got terrified by the end of the first episode, and I'm like, I'm like, nope, this is just not for me. I mean, I'm not saying that, nudity and incest is like something that I'm like, okay, you do your own thing. But for me watching it, I just couldn't get into it. I'm sorry. So this one is kind of more on like the bottom of my list for interest. To say that I'm not interested in it, it's more so that it's like I'm not giving it as much attention as I would say Man of Constant Sorrow or Take Me Home, Country Roads, that kind of thing. There's where I put my attention for certain things. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk about the video here for a second. Patty Cake Productions and making a Game of Thrones related set. Amazingly good job. I mean, I will say, just set is perfectly good because it's like, trying to remake something out of Game of Thrones from every detail. I will give Geoff that. He's always good with attention to detail when it comes to whatever song he may be doing or whatever other thing that he may have going on for him. But I would also, this one just doesn't interest me as much as it should. Because, he has the Iron Throne, and there's a story behind that. I forget the story. It's been a while since I've heard about that. It looks extremely uncomfortable. I mean, the outfits are super nice. Let me just get this out of the way here. In the one frame of him where he's see, this is just how bad I am with this show, you guys. I have no idea who the freaking who anybody is, and even though I rewatched the behind the scenes, I'm like, I forget, because I get distracted by leather, Geoff. I get distracted, and you know why. I mean, he looks good in costume. However, one clone of his that I have to kind of facepalm when I look at it, because I get it with the van braces and just the armor, the chazis, the chaz, I don't know how they say it. The neck piece. I'm gonna say the neck piece. The neck piece that he got stuck in. Believe it or not, he got stuck. He's always getting stuck in his outfits. It's so funny to me. But Geoff, you tried your best with painting. Could have done a better paint job. I'm just saying, because I've been looking at the paint, and there's places that I'm like, ooh, they probably should have been touched up just a little bit, or you could have maybe left out the color entirely. But I get the theme is red and gold. I get it. But also at this, because you wanted to go with the colors that associate with the Lannister family, and it's like, oh god. So yeah, but all of that out of the way, I'm gonna get into the arrangement. War drums, yes, are fun. When he first put out the little bit of the snippet of the coming soon snippet, I was like, I don't know what this is, and arrangement wise, I hate to say it, but it was kind of weak. And I normally I love Geoff. Don't get me wrong, I really do. But this one just kind of, it didn't do as well as I thought it was going to. Even with the amazing editing in the video, he edited this one to beat hell and made it, somewhat enjoyable. But arrangement wise, well, because the song is just, it's basically there's only 2 verses in the whole entire thing, and I don't know if you can really, I think even in Geoff standard, I think it's kind of hard to really do and add more into something that's so small. And I kind of find it ironic because there's a character in Game of Thrones by the name of Joffrey, and it's so funny because his name is Jeffrey, so it's that's funny to me. But Joffrey's a jerk. I hate Joffrey. I'm glad he died. I'm sorry. That's the power of YouTube coming to me, where it's I can just rewatch that scene and just be like, yes, you die, you son of a, I don't even know the tyranny behind how bad he was, but I just know that he was a very spoiled, rotten kid that wanted everything, and once he came into a point of power, he just wanted to be king. Well, he was king for a while, but and like I can rewatch that scene over and over and just be super satisfied with it. I'm getting sidetracked. But yeah, the arrangement for this one was fairly, I would say it's weak. He tried his best. He really did. There's some pretty harmonies in this, and there's fabulous, low points. To carry it along for 3 minutes and 15 seconds, as long as this video is, it definitely has promise, and it does hold up in a certain sense. For me, maybe I might have appreciated it more if I was more into Game of Thrones, but even going back and listening to the original, it's a song of tyranny. It's basically saying that it's like, yes, we were at this specific point, but now I have ruined everything. And now, there's really no way that it's like the Lord of Castamere, like he spoke, now the rains weep o'er his hall, and no one there to hear, because he killed the family, basically is what it was. It was like murder and something like that. And it's just like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. But like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go any longer than 20 minutes for this one, because I don't know exactly what else to talk about. Okay, let me go into Leather Geoff for a minute here. That outfit is just, I love it. He just looks so pretty in it. He looks good in all the outfits, but the armor, it is just an eyesore for me. I hate to say it. And I try to be fairly positive when I'm doing these, but I think this is kind of like where I can kind of say that this wasn't the one for me. But going back to the arrangement here, I do like the harmonies. Geoff always tries his hardest. And one specific part that sticks out to me is kind of further in the middle, where he's just kind of more with the ahs, and I like it, but of course there's also that violin, and I'm a sucker for violin and cello. I'm a sucker for it. So it's like if I'm just to listen to the karaoke version of this one, I will give it a listen to. And it's not to say that I won't listen to this one all the time. It's just, it's not gonna be the one that gets a lot of playtime. I have the video up on my other screen here, and he's sitting on the Iron Throne looking at me like, how dare you do this to me? I'm sorry. But video-wise, it's we kind of go from one color to another. We're kind of fairly in kind of this grayish kind of tone at the beginning, and then once we get into the middle, it's kind of more goldish. And I'm like, that's fairly interesting, but I don't know if that was a video editing problem, or if that was whether that was with the rendering. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, I don't know. There's just something about that armor that it just doesn't work for me. Everything else just kind of works. If he just had the black outfit and then the red collar, that would be fine. But I get what he was trying to get at. That that really strong warrior that just comes out from the war or wherever the hell it was. I don't know, guys. I haven't watched Game of Thrones, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. The transitions and the editing is superb. Whoops. Ah. Oh my god. Shush. Okay, so you probably heard that. So there's a little taste of of what the song sounds like. And yeah, the transitions are pretty nice. He's got every single one of his clones sitting on the Iron Throne, and he's got them in different poses and everything. Leather Geoff is basically saying, "Come get me." But he had to change 13 times to get the shots for this thing. And I'm thinking, dude, you were making way too much work for yourself. It didn't really do as well. Even in its first couple of weeks after it was released, it was just kind of like there was no real takeoff. Like it's not even in the millions yet. So I think he kind of hit his first bop with this. Like he's only at 889,741 views, and that was 2 years ago. That was in August of 2022. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of the comments are actually pretty funny. But I mean, I do like the fact that, you know, he made it his own thing and he tried his hardest to do it, but it didn't really work compared to like Icy Fire and, you know, stuff like that, like Dragonborn Comes and whatnot. You know, I think that this was kind of a learning curve for him. Like, people wanted him to do Game of Thrones because low voice, low notes, just to see how it was going to work. But for me personally, it didn't really work. You know, and I'm being perfectly honest. Like, I could gush about it, but I would gush about it more for outfits, drums and violin. That's basically, you know, the things that kind of get to me. Leather. I mean, you know, he looked fantastic in leather. But it just, I mean, he did a lot of editing. It's a shorter song. He gave it his best shot. I'm sorry, buddy. And I'm sorry for, you know, anybody who's listening to this that may be like, no, you're wrong. I don't believe you. You know, you're full of crap. That's okay. I am willing to take that because, you know, I'm not here to really, you know, always make it feel positive, and I'm not here to listen to people say, oh yeah, you did really good, but this one, like, you know, this video was shit, so are you not talking about it, type of thing. I'm not here to please everybody, and this one just wasn't necessarily my favorite, and I'm not, you know, saying that just to please everybody else that was like, oh, you know, you automatically think that every song is going to be a hit, and sometimes it's not always going to be, and I don't think this one really did it. Like, you know, some of them took off fairly quickly with Geoff, but this one, it just didn't take off as much. I think he kind of realized that at the end, where it was like, people wanted this, but I don't really know why. You know, I gave it my best shot, but, I mean, he tried his best. I will always give him credit for going through hours and hours of shooting time and hours of, you know, dress rehearsal, audio, editing, you know, just all of the hard work that he puts into it is always appreciated, even when it comes to a video that performed fairly poorly. I mean, I for myself, I don't know how it is to be on a set and to be filming for hours just for it to not work the way that I want it to. So, you know, because I don't have to physically do the thing, but I know how it is to sit in front of a computer and listen to yourself over and over and over, and stacking vocals, stacking harmony, recording several amounts, and then for it to be uploaded to YouTube and then have it do poorly. It kind of feels like all of your hard work just threw out the window. I mean, maybe if I was more of a Game of Thrones fan, I might think of this a little bit differently, but not so much. Yeah, I don't know what else to really talk about here, because it doesn't really give much life to anything. And then there's a couple of other like music videos out there from other artists that are in the millions, and I don't understand. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it had promise. Reigns of Castamere definitely had promise. I don't know what else to say. I really don't. I'm sorry, buddy. I mean, he's looking at me like right now, and he's just like, how dare you? It looks like he's gonna kill me in my sleep. But I love you. I really do. I'll make up for this one with the next song that people choose. But people just voted for this. And, like, you know, if this is something that you voted for and you were curious to hear what I have to say, that's what I have to say. And I'm not sugarcoating it because, not that I'm trying to make this look very negative. And I'm not trying to say that, you know, Geoff didn't try. He definitely did. And I give him credit. I give him credit for putting this one out there. It performed poorly. It wasn't as pleasing as a lot of people thought it was going to be. I think it was very overhyped. I think. Like, everybody was very excited to have this one go out, and then it's like, I like the violin, and I like the harmonies. I mean, I'm not going to take that away from Geoff. Like, Geoff has talent. Don't get me wrong. He tried his best. I mean, I wouldn't say he gave it his best shot. He tried his best. This was definitely a learning curve that I think, with, like, Icy Fire, was a huge improvement over something like this. Like, I mean, I know that they're two very different scenarios. Like, the two different folklore. But compared to, like, Reigns of Castamere, Icy Fire, arrangement style was very, very different from both of those, I would say. Like, I mean, I will still listen to it, and I will still support it. Like, I will always, come back to it and listen to it a couple times. Like, I did it before I even did this episode. I was listening to it. There's still moments that will stick with me that I will just be like, okay, or I'll just be, doing stuff in my day, and then I'll hear, his harmonies pop into my head, because that's just how it works. But, I'm sorry, Geoff. There is so much better that could have been done, but you saved that for, like, Icy Fire or Sound of Silence, or, just something else that, was kind of more in his realm, I think. Because I don't think if you're, like, as an artist, if you're not immersed, I don't know words, if you're not immersed into the certain franchise, and if you don't really, like, for myself, I'm, like, if you don't know what you're getting yourself into, it's hard to bring a certain idea to life when you're not necessarily, like, for me, automatically to say that I know everything about, like a cappella, for example, I would be lying my face off, because it's like, that's not true. I only got into a cappella, like, about, like, maybe 2-3 years ago, and there's still things that I'm learning about, and there's still things that I'm learning about music. Like, for me to say, like, to go out and say that I was, like, a musician, I would be lying. Because it's like, I understand, like, I'm barely understanding, like, chord structures and music theory. Even, like, I'm reading on, like, up about it. And, like, trying to read music is very difficult. And it's like, for me to say that, it's like, oh, if somebody just said to me, like, oh, so you know how to read music, I'd be like, no. So it's like, you really have to do your homework. And if you don't do a lot of homework leading up to concept idea, like, it does become a mixed bag. And I think this one was kind of a mixed bag approach for him. And, for it to kind of be poorly played, it kind of shows. But, he put his ego and his pride aside, and he tried his hardest, but it didn't work out. But he still looks good in leather. I'm just gonna say that right now. So that's a good ending point. I mean, voice, beautiful. Him wearing outfits, gorgeous. Arrangement, meh. Video, meh. Video wasn't as tasteful as some of his other stuff, but he tried, and, that's all you can do. That's all you can do is try. Okay, guys, so I think I've ranted enough. I'm sorry that this one might have been a little bit less of what you guys were looking for, but that's my opinion on it. If I was an asshole about it, please don't go and tell Geoff about this, because I am here to love and support his work. And, by any chance, if he ever comes across this, even though he probably won't listen to it, but Geoff, if you're out there, odds are you probably aren't, but I love your stuff. I love you. Don't get me wrong, this one just didn't, you struck out with this one. You struck out. Just a little bit. But it's okay. You're going to have flops and you're going to have wins. And that's how life is. So I appreciate you trying. I appreciate your best effort to do this one justice, but it just didn't click. So, but anyway, so I'm going to post both of them in the description. You guys can check it out for yourself. Please don't come into the comments with a whole bunch of very mean comments, because they will be deleted, because I don't believe in having that type of stuff on my channel. There's just no place for it. I appreciate people's opinion, but I also appreciate that, people can also keep their mouths shut. Okay, I'm gonna stop rambling now before I lose my voice, because I have a live chat coming up today, so I'm gonna save my voice for that. So there you go. I apologize, and I will see you guys in the next one. If this one doesn't play poorly, or if this one doesn't do well, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I will gladly take that. Okay, see you guys later.